Go ahead.
Okay, thank you for joining us today. Today, I have the pleasure of interviewing Mr. George Ross. George has been a real estate attorney for over 50 years, a finance and business coach, author, and a central figure on NBC's Apprentice. He's also been the right-hand man for Donald Trump and a true entrepreneur. And if I am correct, he is also a father of two. George, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Awesome. Well, I just have to tell you how valuable you have been. This is the first time that we've been able to be face-to-face or even on Zoom together, but I've had the ability to listen to a lot of the coaching sessions that you've done with JT Fox, and I can't tell you the lessons that I've learned and how inspirational you've been so far.
Well, that's great. JT is a real character. He's good for coaching.
He is, and I've learned a lot just by you coaching him. So instead of asking you those normal questions, I think I want to know a little bit more about George Ross, the man, and what drives you.
What do you want to know?
I want to know what drives you. What are you passionate about, and what is the why that has you achieve all of the things that you've achieved and successfully this?
Well, that's a good question, a very long question. It started out really that effectively I was very poor. Well, I mean, not dirt poor and such, but very poor. My father died when I was 16 years old, and that was a change in my life because I couldn't go to college and all the ideas didn't go. So I had to carve my way back doing something else. So I went to the Army. And later on, got the GI Bill, became got a college graduation, and then became a lawyer and married a wonderful woman who we've been married now for more than 70 years. And it was my desire to say I would never be poor again. And I would be able to provide for my family whatever it took. And that's what I did. And then as time went on, yes, I was successful. I made some very good investments in real estate and other investments, and had some businesses, and yeah, I achieved the results. Now I'm 93, so it's a little different, but now my passion is basically charities. So charities and also coaching, which I'm doing now. In other words, giving people the benefit of my experience when it comes to coaching, and giving charities the benefit of my experience and also a lot of dollars, because I think that's very important, that everybody should make the world a better place.
Well, thank you so much for your service to our country, as well as doing all the things you're doing for charities now. If you could start it all over again to make your path a little bit easier, so that someone new just starting out doesn't have to travel such a hard road going forward.
That doesn't work that way.
Wouldn't work that way. Okay.
Whoever makes the decisions upstairs, whoever that is, I'm sure it's a woman, because it's totally unpredictable. But you are what life was given to you. Make the best of it, and you can. And that's what I did, and I think everyone should do. Don't look back, look forward and improve things.
Do you think the adversity that you had to struggle with early on was something that helped you achieve those goals?
There's no question. There's absolutely no question about that. In other words, the answer is yes, the adversity, and when there's a feeling of satisfaction when you accomplish something. And if you've done especially a difficult task or a difficult thing in life, and you've overcome it, then there's a pride of admiration. Yes, I did it. And that's something that should be treasured. I look at people who had it easy all their life, and they missed out.
Yeah.
Because they didn't have the thrill of performance.
Yeah. Well, at 93, you've seen a lot of technical changes in the world. Are you on LinkedIn and Twitter, and do you keep up with all the active social media things?
The answer is yes. The technical changes I am aware of, and was always involved with technology. I'm not on Twitter or LinkedIn or any of that, but I don't want to be. I don't I don't think it's appropriate to give my information or to give the information out to the rest of the world because yeah, they like it.
Yeah.
I'm pretty careful who I speak to or how I speak to because I think that that's appropriate. However, I am aware of blockchains and cryptocurrency and all of that stuff. So yes, I'm pretty much up in as far as technology is concerned. Not as high as I would like to be, but I recognize that this was going to be a very potent factor in everyone's life a number of years ago.
So you've only pulled the factors of the changes that are necessary for your business and stayed away from kind of the social aspects of it.
You got it. Right on. Exactly
Yep.
right.
I understand that. I've been the same way. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. If you were going to start in all of the businesses that you've done so far, if you were starting over as someone just starting out, what would you focus on real estate? Is that where you would go, or would you have someone focus on what they're passionate about?
No, that's two questions, but they're really one question. You should focus on what you're passionate about. If it happens to be real estate, then that's fine. But I think everyone should do what they really like doing. If you don't like it, I don't care how much money you make, it's not worth it. You have to like what you're doing and appreciate it. The reward is in doing it, not in how much you made or how successful you were. So would it have been real estate? I don't know. Would have been where it is. It would have been wherever the opportunity arose that I could accomplish what I wanted to do for myself and for my family.
And how did you handle that work-family balance?
That's a very good question. I made it very clear early on in my life that balance is important to being happy or content. And money or whatever you get in the way of monetary rewards, that's one aspect. On the other aspect, you have family, you have church, you have community, you have environmental responsibilities. And if you can balance them, you will be happy. If you don't, you will be unhappy because there should be some kind of a balance. So I did early on at that point. I made sure that it never worked unless it was extremely important, but I never worked beyond 5:30 because I wanted to see my children grow up.
Yeah, yeah, that's great advice. That I don't know what else to ask you that won't just sound like I'm prying or digging, because I really am like, want to know more about you
Well, you
personally.
can pry and dig. That's
Oh, can
fine.
pry and dig. Okay, so I
That's
know
all.
you have two children, two
Yeah,
daughters,
I
and
do. I
and
have that. I have two daughters, three granddaughters, and two great grandchildren.
that's fantastic.
One is 5 and one is 8.
That is
And they
fantastic.
are the pride and joy, and that's really the most important thing in life. Everything else is secondary, except your health.
Yeah.
Your health is number one. Everything else is number two.
I have heard you say that before and try to focus a little bit more on that myself. So I am working on making sure that I am following the direction of those that I want to be like. So,
Good.
well, I would say that you have been an absolute inspiration to me, and more than you know, because this is our first time meeting, and how grateful I am that you give your time back to help new and
That's it.
upcoming people.
That's part of what I do now is because I can give the benefit of my experience over all the years back to someone who doesn't have it. Understand, I have been where you are. You have not been where I am.
Right.
So if I can make your life a little easier by giving you some of the advice of what I went through and how I accomplished, that's wonderful. That's the teacher in me.
Yeah.
And yes, I do teach a college course. I teach a course in college. And also I've written 2 books, as you know, and I've done a lot of lecturing, which I do also with JT and others. And I give the benefit of my experience to those who want to hear it. I don't care whether they use it or not. That's up to them. But I feel as a teacher, I did the best I could to give them some highlights as to where I was, how I got there, and maybe what they can do to improve their lives.
Sounds great. Well, they say that you are the people that you surround yourself with. So as you were coming up in the world, as you infiltrated a new circle that was at a higher level, how did you not let the current things in your life down to be able to show loyalty to the things that were ahead?
Well, it's a question of priorities.
Priorities?
Just figuring out what's really important. And as far as I'm concerned, my family and my life style was more important than anything else. Uh, Making money was important because that would give you the lifestyle you want, but it was secondary. The thing is, the pleasures really were watching your children go up, watching them go to college or school and develop, and playing games with them, and also friends and neighbors. So being a
So
part of
don't miss out
society is
on the
more
life
important than
part.
having money, right?
Yeah, don't miss out on the life part to achieve the success.
Don't miss out on the life part. You're right on.
Well, that is great advice. So I will definitely take that.
Good.
So do you have big plans for Thanksgiving?
Yes, right now we moved down to Florida to have a place in Florida in winter time, and we just did that recently. So down here with a lot of friends. My wife is here, and the children will come down when they want to come down too, and we'll have a typical Thanksgiving, normal Thanksgiving. I won't have the same people, but I'll have other people, other friends that I've had a long standing.
Well, you
How
make
about
me feel
you?
like I'm on the right path because I did the same thing. I just
There you
transferred
go.
down to Florida for the winter. So
There you go. Great. Great. It took me a long time to get there, and I didn't give up the house in New York. We'll do that. And yes, a snowbird, but I'm in a community where a lot of friends of long standing,
yeah,
and that's very important.
that's fantastic. That's fantastic. Well, if you could give me one bit of advice to take myself to the next level.
Well, yeah. What's the next level? What level are you at now? What do you do?
So what do I do? I am in kind of in between. I'm a connector of people. I started learning how to invest in real estate about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
But then I had some issues that kind of took me downhill. But the one thing I didn't lose was the knowledge that I gained. So in the last,
What were the? If I'm not prying, what were the issues that took you downhill?
I had a health issue. I had a
Okay,
health issue
didn't we go
that,
back? I told you health is number one. Everything else
yeah.
is number two.
Yeah. I had a health issue and then I went through a divorce. So I kind of started all
Okay.
over.
That's a traumatic issue.
Yeah. So in the last 18 months, I was able to take all the knowledge that I had and keep making connections. So I've done a lot in real estate now, but with partners. So
Good, good,
I'm,
good. You have just in this short session to that point, you you have all the attributes of being very successful. I think you're very attuned to the world and attuned to real estate, and you should do very well. And if you're looking for somebody else that you want to have an affair with, that's your problem. Go do it. There's no reason why not. As I would say, live life to the fullest.
yeah, yeah. And I think I am. That was real estate is one of those things that's able to take me to the next level, to be able to travel around and do what I want to
No,
do.
absolutely. See, the beauty of real estate is there. It's not going anywhere.
Yeah.
It's always going to be there. I always say, and I've talked to people that I've done coaching with, says, look, God is not making more land. What you have is what you have, and it's going to always be there and have value of some sort, and take advantage of it. Over a period of time, real estate has always appreciated in value. It's got highs, it's got lows, it's got medians. It doesn't always go the way you want it when you want it, but over a period of time, you'll be better off if you do long-term investing.
Yeah. I'm partnered on a lot of things right now
Great.
and a little scattered, but that's because I surround myself with
That's,
experts and just get a
no,
little piece of the
should
pie.
be scattered, should diversify. Don't bet the ranch on any one thing. And I've seen this as a problem for many of the people I've coached or that I've known in business, is they get so involved in one transaction that it's got to be, this is it, and they'll pour everything in it. including their money and their heart and their soul. And if it doesn't work, they're devastated.
Yeah.
And you shouldn't be there. What you have is, you should know, if it doesn't work, I get out, I'll take my loss, but it's not the end of the world.
Do you still believe in holding items though? Or would you do
Everything
faster?
everything has a time factor. So I say, yeah, and it's very important, especially in real estate. And many people at this don't look at that. They always say, if you buy something, it should have a time factor. I'm going to hold it for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, whatever it is. I'm going to hold it forever. This is going to give to my children. Or I'm going to sell it in 1 year. And that's important. Give every transaction you have in real estate a time factor. Here's where I am. Here's where I want to be in 5 years. And I'm buying, reselling, or what have you. And that's critical, because you shouldn't hold on to something too long, and you shouldn't give up too soon. Gotcha. If it's going the way you have in mind. So you should have a game plan.
Yes.
To say this is forever. Well, this is not. This is for a year. This is for a month or 2 years, and check it periodically, every month or what. Is it going the way I have in mind? Is it the expenses too high, or the income not what? Where is it deviating? Well, you started with a game plan, and then you just check. Am I right or wrong on the game plan on a periodic basis to see that it's better than I thought in certain areas? It's where I thought. What's the best thing to do? And then you go on to the next month or the next one, and you just check. So you correct the deficiencies if they're capable of being corrected. If they can't, then you decide should I give up? Should I throw what? And it's constant looking at what you've done or what you are doing, instead of just saying, yeah, it's okay, or just letting it go. Next year will be better. That type of thing is not the way to go.
Gotcha. So I think one of the things that holds me back sometimes is fear. And even though I've learned a lot, I still have that fear of taking the next step.
Fear holds everybody back.
Tammy, do you want to transition into the coaching?
Understand.
No, you're good. You can keep on.
Okay.
If you are afraid of failure, you will never be successful, because you learn from failure. You do not learn from success.
Do you think that someone could be as afraid of success as
of
being
course.
afraid?
No, you're not afraid of success. You're afraid of failure. This is in the mind what it is to fail, and they can deem success any way they want. I mean, someone, for example, says, "Well, I want to be a billionaire." Why? So if you're worth 300 million, you didn't make it. Is that a failure? It's relative. So
right.
It's a question of really accomplishing it, what you are capable of accomplishing at a particular point in time, and it varies. Because the world, your circumstances is different. Look at what happened now with COVID and everything. It changed lifestyle. But you can go with the flow. The smart people, the people that are very successful, are the ones who can adapt to change and are willing to take a chance on what has happened in the change.
That makes sense.
Yeah. Instead of buttoning down and saying, well, I'm going to hide from the rest of the world.
Yeah. So, but if you have to rely on other people sometimes, how do you determine who you can trust?
That's it. That's a very good question. And the answer is there are probably only two people that I can trust. That's you and me, and I'm not so sure about you. No, it's over a period of time that you see people, how they react in minor situations. Because if they will react favorably in a minor situation, they will probably react favorably in a major situation.
Right.
So, and you have to get to understand one of the rules of life, as far as I'm concerned. If the stakes are high enough, people will give up their ideals. All right, that's all. And it's just a question. Well, if I stole and I could steal $1 million, would I do it if I could only steal 10? It's a question of degree. There's issues which everybody has to take up, but be aware of it. But the sooner you find out that someone that you trusted or you thought you trusted cannot be trusted on a minor item, then you got to change that relationship. Because if they can't be trusted on a minor item, they will not be trusted on a major item. I don't care what they say or how they say it. They promise you everything. All right? And you just be aware. So that's how you can be very successful in life. So deal with the people that, yes, you think you can trust, but you look, is there any reason not to? Always be cautious that is the stakes high enough, or what do they really want? Then what's the level at which they will vary from being trustworthy to being taken?
When I go into a new market, a lot of times I try to know enough about a business or a profession so that when I call and ask questions, I can ask specific questions to see if they have the right knowledge.
You should. So understand. I'll give you a key tip. All right.
Yes.
That's a key tip. And this is probably worth everything as far as this interview is concerned, or what it is. Learn to listen to what people are not saying. Don't listen to what they are saying. Okay. What they're saying, they want you to hear. What they're not saying, they don't want you to hear. So you have to look behind the sudden thing and find out exactly what's going on. So somebody says, I'm going to sell you a piece of property, right? And you got a fantastic price. No. Why do they want to sell it? Right. Why? What's the fantastic price? How does it? So if you ask the next question, why do you want to sell it now? I'll find out.
Right.
Okay. And I'll see what it is. Why do I want to sell it now? You get an answer this one. How did you come up with that price? How did you come up with what you say it's worth $1 million? Why do you think it's worth $1 million? I want to hear what they say.
Yeah.
See, now I'm not going to listen to the song and dance or the speech that they give. I want to get the answer that's behind what they're really thinking. And that's delving in a nice manner. Because I'm not really going to criticize them for lying or anything, but that's probably what they're doing.
Yeah.
They're not going to tell you what's in there, what they're saying. It's not in their best interests.
Right.
So you have to get behind the mask.
Well, and a lot of times I think the more questions you ask, it's easier to solve the actual problem. And
absolutely,
a lot of people are selling. The reason they give you is not the actual reason that they're selling. Of course,
it's not.
So that is one of the things that I'm actually kind of good at, is finding out the reasons behind.
Great, you can do it as in other words, if the key to being a good deal maker or a negotiator is that you can create a feeling of comfort with the other side. So we're friends at this point, and we can relate. Yeah, you may be doing business, but if they like you, they will do business with you. If they don't, they will not.
Correct.
So it's developing that feeling of working together and being friendly. And that's worth everything. There is no legal document that is drawn or ever will be drawn that takes the place of a good personal relationship.
Yes, I truly believe that. I actually built my last business strictly on referral basis.
Good.
So when I asked you about social media, that is a struggle that I have now, because I'm not a social media person, and I've transitioned.
I empathize. I understand why you're not. I am not for it, because people will look at you and they will interpret whatever they want from what you have said or what you have done.
Yeah.
All right. So this is, or what you're wearing, or how you, whatever it is, how you relate, what you say, what you look like, and they make their own interpretation. Like, oh, you look terrible today. Yeah, that's fine, but but it doesn't stop there with one. Now they tell all their friends, look, I had this I met with Tammy, and she looked terrible, and right away. Or I wonder, is she overweight? So they come up with their own ideas, their own schemes, which have nothing to do with the truth. Nothing to do, actually. It's just carried on. Like the kids, I remember you used to have the game telephone where you started with a word and you went around the room and they had to get back to the same word, but it got distorted the more people that were involved. This is what's happening with social media. The person or the circumstances being drawn out and is being misinterpreted because that's the way they view it. So somebody can look at your life and say, oh, she's wonderful. Look at what she's accomplished. The other say, oh, she's had such a bad time. And they carry it out and they talk to the next person, and the next person changes, has a variation of the same theme. That's why I stay away from social media.
Yeah, I have found, just like I asked you about the adversity, I've had a lot of adversity, but I hide it. So like even on, if
When you
someone
say you
has
don't hide
watched,
it, you keep it inside. That's
I
different.
keep it inside. I don't put it out for
But
other people to
understand,
see it.
adversity is a wonderful learning experience. As
Yeah.
hard as it is, you learn. You learn from aggravation. You learn from all of those things, and then you become a stronger person than someone who just went through life and everything was easy.
I truly believe it's what fuels me forward. You know, it is I even was talking with someone the other day and said, I think that sometimes right before greatness happens, sometimes we have something else happen to us to see if we keep pushing forward for greatness.
Absolutely.
So
absolutely, that's life. You know, you can't. It doesn't go the way you had in mind. There's always different pitfalls, and some things are better than you thought they would be. Some things are worse, but that's life. And same thing with people, and the same thing with relationships. So just be happy, be content.
Well, before we run out of time, I'm going to ask you one more question. So this is going to go back to a little bit of a personal level. I this year became a grandmother as well. So how do you keep up with the grandkids as we get older?
That's a very good question. I don't have the answer to that, but one thing, there's one great thing with grandkids is you can give them back. You can spoil them to death at that point and give them back, and it's not your problem anymore.
I know. That's my favorite thing so far.
That's great. How many do you have?
I have 2.
Well, one, a boy and a girl. Am I right? A boy and a girl?
I think we lost him.
Oh, here, do we lose? Yeah, something happened. We got lost. Tracy, where are you?
We can still hear you, George.
Okay.
We're almost, time's almost up anyway.
Yeah, I lost you guys there for a while, so.
But Tammy, enjoy the family and have a good Thanksgiving.
I will, and I hope to see you at Mega.
Well, we'll see. I may be there.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you so much for today. I appreciate you.
I enjoyed the conversation too.
Good. Thank you.